welcome back to the podcast. This is Haley, nutritionist, weight loss expert. You are listening to Weight Loss Without Dieting, where we talk about all things losing weight that has nothing to do with willpower, restriction, or any traditional diet methods. These are real tools you can use in your life every single day to feel confident around food, to help you stop emotional eating, stress eating, eating things that you know aren't going to help you lose weight but you don't know how to stop. And it really doesn't matter how impossible it feels for you. What matters is that you want to make a change and you're willing to look at alternative options other than, the traditional things that are out there. This stuff that we talk about here isn't just words or hot air. These are real tools that I use in my program with my clients to help them lose weight. And I've had hundreds of success stories with the program that I now offer. It really works. And not only do you lose the weight, but it doesn't come back. You change your relationship with food forever. So that's what we do here. And today's episode is going to be really good if you are one of those people who eats healthy but you don't weigh what you want, or you just find yourself eating things that you know aren't going to help you lose weight, but you don't really know how to stop. So sometimes when you're in that camp, you don't necessarily consider yourself an emotional eater, a stress eater, but you just consistently are like, why did I eat that? I don't know. Confused. So there's not a lot of intense emotions surrounding your eating. You're just like, I just keep making these choices that I know aren't going to help me lose weight, and I don't really know how to stop. So that's what we're talking about in today's episode. This is I don't want to use the word term or something that I've coined. It's just this pattern that I have consistently seen in my years of coaching that so many of us have, and we don't recognize it because it's very low-lying. And that is what I call it, or what it is. That's not what I call it. What it is justified eating. So this is when we are eating things that, in that moment, we feel totally justified to eat. We have a lot of reasons why it's totally fine for us to eat this thing, why it's not a big deal. And justified is one of those emotions. So to be clear, this is still considered emotional eating. Eating for any emotion, the way I talk about this, eating for any emotion is emotional eating. But justified is one of those emotions that feels very right. It feels clean. It feels like it's not a big red flag. We're not super stressed out. We're not angry. We're not lonely or bored on the couch watching Netflix, just snacking. It's not really that intense. It doesn't show up on that spectrum of emotion. It feels very, this is totally okay. And so it flies under the radar over and over again. So many of my clients show up to coaching with this same story. Well, I was at a special event, get-together gathering here at the time that I'm recording this, we just had 4th of July. So there was a lot of 4th of July parties, burgers, hot dogs. this is a one-time thing. It's not that big of a deal. This isn't something I eat all the time. Another way that this pops up is it was healthy. The food that I chose to eat, even though I knew it was more than my body wanted, or at a time that my body wasn't asking for fuel, it was healthy. It was hummus and carrots. It was, a protein bar. Totally okay. I hadn't really eaten anything else that day. All I had was XYZ. So it's totally okay that I'm having a burger and french fries for lunch. Like those are some really good examples of how people bring this to coaching. And they say, so right? Like that's totally, I mean, they're usually riding this line of like, that's totally okay, correct? You question mark. But also, I know that how that showed up for me isn't in a way that's going to help me lose weight. That is justified eating. And as I describe that, you might have a lot more examples for yourself of how you're seeing that in my life. Oh yes, I'm doing that here, there, and everywhere. And it can be a huge blocker to your weight loss success because it is flying under the radar all the time, because you don't notice it so much of the time. And it feels like, yeah, that was totally okay. Like that was totally a decision that I thought I wanted to make, at the same time recognizing it's really not gonna, the way that it was made is not gonna help me lose weight. So, let's talk about this when it shows up as healthy eating. And where is the line here between, it being justified because it's healthy, but it's not going to help you lose weight. So how I coach on this, if you're my client coming to me with this scenario, this is how I eat. It's very clean, very healthy. I have, this hummus and carrots snack every day. But I don't weigh what I want. But it's totally justified because everything that I eat is really clean. So the first place, and this is where all of you healthy eaters are really stumbling in your weight loss efforts, is yes, you're eating very clean, but most of it you're justifying because it's clean and it's not fitting into the fuel that your body is actually asking for. So that is always the line here. Because I teach, we want to, eat clean because it's going to feel better for you physically, but also have your indulgences because that's part of life, and that's what most of us want, is to be able to have some indulgences without feeling out of control. But all of this we need to do so that it's honoring the fuel that our body is asking for. So when it comes to my healthy eaters, if you are we're going to go back to this hummus and carrots example. If you're having that as a snack and you're not losing weight, it's not because it's not healthy. It's because your body's not asking for fuel. You are eating outside of your body's needs. And so where you're getting hung up is on the type of fuel, the quality of fuel, which is a great place to be. But where you need to look is the quantity, because you're eating more than your body's asking for. And this is such a common misstep We are told our whole lives that our body needs 10 times more fuel than it actually does. Thank you, very clever marketing developed in the early 1900s. Not serving us. Look at the United States average BMI compared to other countries, and we have the biggest, food lobbyist and food marketing in the entire world. It makes sense. We're just told we need to be eating all this fuel all the time, and it's way more than our body really wants. So when we take a look at cutting out all that noise of this is totally okay, it's healthy, I was told I needed to, eat this much, and we just say, what is my body actually telling me about how much fuel I need? A lot of that stuff will fall to the wayside. So I see that pop up for you over and over again. You're justifying it because it's healthy, but it's actually outside of what your body is really asking for. So you need to slow it down and start asking yourself those types of questions. And these are when I talk about my clients who hit their goal weight within 2 weeks, who drop 10 pounds in 2 weeks. These are those people. Because you're already eating clean. It's just a matter of slowing down and listening to your body and putting that at the forefront of your decision making. And bam, you hit your goal weight. It's crazy. I've had people who have been working on this for years. They've hired other nutritionists, other experts, they've gone to doctors, and within the first month of working with me, they hit their goal weight. And then what happens from there is you get to go into maintenance mode. You get to go into, okay, I'm just going to keep practicing this so that it feels so easy and so natural and so effortless. I never have to think about it again. So the weight loss is really the easy part for you. And then maintenance mode is where you put in your work and put in your effort. And that's just such a beautiful thing. You get to hit your goal weight so fast and then just practice the tools so that you have a new relationship with food. Okay, where else we're going to look at this is if you don't consider yourself an emotional eater. So I kind of said this at the beginning, not all emotional eating is on a really intense portion of the emotions spectrum. The emotions spectrum, if you think about it, like a needle that is on a parallel line, or if we think about one line and a needle that goes from flat on one side to flat on the other. So the emotional spectrum where it's flat on either side, those are the really intense emotions. So we can look at positive and negative. So positive would be happy, joyful, love, all those wonderful feelings. And then the negative side would be fear, doubt, overwhelm, stress, pressure, willpower, frustration, all those negative emotions, boredom, loneliness. And then in the middle are going to be they're still emotions, but they're just low lying. They don't have a really intense feeling in our body. So the ones I talk about on here a lot are calm, confidence, and certainty. Other pretty neutral emotions would be curiosity and justification. It's very neutral, so it's hard to detect, and we don't often consider ourselves emotional eaters. We just feel very justified to be eating what we're eating, but it's still an emotion, so that's how I talk about it here. So as a justified eater, you're just not recognizing what you're probably seeing is, like I said, I'm just eating things that I know aren't going to help me lose weight. And I'm not really sure how to stop doing that or how to change what I'm doing. I'm really not sure what I'm doing wrong. A lot of times you don't even recognize, like, you feel justified to eat what you're eating. So it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong or like what I need to be doing differently in order to lose weight, because all the things that I'm eating are justified. But again, it comes down to when is your body actually asking for fuel? Because sometimes, and where are the indulgences that you're going to plan into your life? So indulgent options that are justified are going to constantly be entering your space. It's always going to be somebody's birthday at the office, and there's a special cake that you really like that you don't ever get to have. It's always going to be a holiday coming up with a bunch of foods that you only see once a year. It's always going to be a special friend's outing or a vacation with all you can eat. There's always going to be a scenario like that in your life with a bunch of food that you're like totally justified to eat. But what's going wrong is you're not planning ahead to say, okay, at this event where I could tell myself I'm totally justified to eat all this stuff, I don't really like most of it. Most of it doesn't really feel good for me. It's not how I want to be eating. I don't want to be bloated, weighed down, and groggy for the rest of my day. So yeah, that's not really what I want to choose. And my body doesn't want that either. And really being more selective about where you're choosing to have your indulgences. And the other caveat here is when it's justified eating, most of the time, these are not conscious decisions. Your brain is tossing out a justification for why you should eat it, and you're just unconsciously agreeing with that and eating it. And when you look back on that decision, you're like recognizing, I know that really wasn't the best choice, or I want to lose weight, and so I'm not really sure why I chose to do that. That is a sign that, this is just happening unconsciously, and you need to check yourself and start bringing awareness to those decisions. So what I often offer to my clients in those situations is, let's pick a couple of indulgences that you actually really like, that are worth it to you to probably not feel your best after you eat it. And you can plan those in. So you've got a big 4th of July party coming up. You love ice cream sundaes. You know they're going to be there. You also know they don't feel that great for you when you eat it, but it's worth it. You're going to have some ice cream sundae. Okay, cool. That is a conscious decision that you're making to enjoy the ice cream sundae, and you know full well how you're going to feel afterwards. And you're also, because you're going into it as a conscious decision, you're actually going to enjoy it in the moment instead of just eating it without thinking about it, which is another symptom of the justified eating, is we tend to just tell ourselves it's totally okay to eat this, and we just scarf it down and don't even taste it or enjoy it. So with all this information in hand, this is how, if this is resonating with you, how to move forward. It's taking note of the red flags that I called out here. I know I'm eating things that, with hindsight, I'm like, why did I choose that? You might not feel like you're ever really eating for an intense emotion, you're just like, yeah, it felt like it was a good decision at the time. You're not making intentional indulgent decisions, like intentionally deciding to have an indulgence, or you're eating really clean all the time. So isn't it okay because it's healthy? And noticing where those are popping up for you and making a plan for how you can honor your body's natural signals in those situations. So one of my clients today was talking about, and this is going to sound, he's a year into the program, so he's about to graduate. So he's very practiced with this, but he's been like going crazy on the summer cherries. And when I say going crazy, like eating an entire bag in one sitting. And he's like, that's just not, how I want to handle this. I know they're cherries, like this is a healthy food, like it's, it could be a lot worse, but I also just don't want to be sitting with a bag of cherries and like eating the whole thing. And so a couple of the ways that we worked through this, because this was showing up for him, is very justified. They're cherries. This isn't a big deal. It's a special summer food. How we worked through this was, okay, if the cherries are there and I find myself telling myself like, I'm totally justified to eat this right now, here's how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to make myself a bowl, set it aside for later on when my body is ready for fuel. Basically just putting a lot of intentionality into it, as opposed to just diving in that exact moment that his brain was like, you're totally justified to eat these. Portioning them out of the bag first, sitting with them, enjoying them. And one of the things like I said to him was, it's so interesting. A lot of your justification around this is it's a special food. One time a year, they're so good. But when you're eating them, you're not really enjoying them. You're just scarfing them down. So place the importance of that on your thought process when you are eating them. This is a special food. They are so good. So I'm going to put, a handful in a bowl and sit here and really like enjoy them. And so one of the things that he did as a result of us talking through this was he bought a bag of cherries and he just practiced all of the things that we talked about on his own. I'm wanting to eat them now because it's totally justified, but I'm also like not hungry at all. It's not part of my plan right now. So I'm going to make sure I have some after dinner. I really want to enjoy some of these right now. I want to eat this whole bag. It's just cherries, not a big deal. Okay, I'm going to portion some out. And we'll really think about like, these are so good. And this is a special moment. But the specialness is in how good they taste, not in eating all of them. So these are all really good ways for you at home to bring some intentionality and awareness to your justified eating. All right, y'all. I offer free weight loss consultations. If you feel stuck, if you feel like you've lost your motivation, if you're just not sure why the weight isn't coming off, even though you've tried a lot of things, the call is to diagnose what is going on for you that's causing all of that. Let's create an action plan to actually help you move forward. And it will have nothing to do with diet or restriction or cutting out all the foods that you like. They are free consultations, and you're going to walk away with a lot of information about why you're stuck and how to actually move forward in a productive way. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Go book that now. And I will see you there. Bye.